This podcast is part of the Red 5 Network. For more Red 5 Network podcasts, visit red5network.com.
Do you like sci-fi, fantasy, action, adventure, and comic books? Then you've come to the right place for your weekly dose of anything and everything geek. So strap in and let's get this show on the road. Welcome to the Science Fictionary Podcast. Welcome back, everybody, to the Science Fictionary Podcast. I'm Andrew. I'm here with Marisha, Daniel, and David. And we're going to jump right into the latest episode of WandaVision.
The most exciting time of the week.
It really is. Like, literally, my kids, when we were on vacation a couple of weeks ago, they were like, but what are we going to do? WandaVision comes out while we're there. This was like their great concern. Like, we're going to spend the weekend with Granddad, but when are we going to get to watch WandaVision?
Yeah.
Yeah. So just right off, I just wanted to ask everybody what you thought of the episode, because I do think this episode has received more mixed reactions than a lot of the episodes have. It's probably more on par with the first couple of episodes in that little bit of a mixed reaction.
It's very exposition heavy, which I'm sure is the problem for a lot of people.
It is.
It was needed.
It was needed. That's the thing. Up to this point, we haven't had much.
No.
I agree. But I can understand why people aren't happy with it, because they're like, well, either they're missing the really, really funny stuff, or they want the story to move forward and they're upset for going backwards. But in order to go forward, we had to go backwards. I think this is a lot of important stuff. Very retcon-y episode. Really interesting. Like, they're going back to things that were set up in Age of Ultron and saying, like, actually,
it was
more
nothing
like this.
major, though. It was nothing major, though, as far as retconning goes. It wasn't really like any kind of. It wasn't like any kind of direct rewriting of the history. Some of the stuff's a lot more like, these are things Wanda didn't realize when they first happened.
I mean, I feel like there's a lot of.
Yeah,
I think there's a lot of, from a certain point of view, stuff going on here.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, I do think that there's some stuff going on, and some, I would call it light retconning, because it doesn't necessarily change the character's story overall.
Right.
She's still the same character. It just kind of gives a little bit of more complicated backstory to her, which is not a problem, because so far, I mean, as much of a fan favorite as the character's become, like,
we're just adding depth at this point.
Right, and she needed it. This character needed the depth added. And I do get that there's a lot of exposition. I mean, it's almost all exposition through the form of flashbacks. I saw some people that didn't like the idea of flashbacks, but the problem is we learned something new in each one of the flashbacks. It was a play on the TV trope of doing filler episodes with things you've already seen before, but it gave us all new information. And I do think that the exposition, because it wasn't just exposition, it was really, really well done. It was great storytelling.
Yep.
I agree.
I did see some people complaining because, you set it up like it was going to be this and it's not that thing. It's like, did you really want everything that they hinted at to pan out? There's lots of things that they gave you an illusion that was going to happen in the show that didn't. I mean,
and a lot of it though was just to throw you off the trail of what's really going on.
Exactly. Like, they really had us convinced. Well, I guess maybe Agatha isn't, or maybe Agnes isn't the bad guy after all, right?
Well, I think Agnes, I mean, she's definitely playing a role of at least a minor villain here. But I don't know that she's going to be that by the end of the next episode.
Right. She is in it to get something for herself.
Right.
But she is inadvertently also helping Wanda.
Right. And that's the thing. Let's not forget that Wanda herself started off as a villain.
Yeah.
Right.
So, we can have characters that move across that line. And, it's not like we've seen, Agatha hasn't been this big MCU villain, and we're suddenly going to go, oh, she's a good guy. But I do think she's going to fall on the side of having to help by the end of this.
Yeah, I really like what they're doing with Agatha because, like I said on last week's episode, if they just establish that, well, actually Agatha did it all, and Wanda's completely innocent, I think that ruins a lot of the character development. So I like the idea that Wanda did start this, and then Agatha's coming in and taking advantage of it. And I also really like characters like that they're really only loyalties to themselves, and they aren't on the side of good or evil. They're on the side of she's on the side of Agatha. Like Loki. Loki's on the side of Loki.
Exactly, and that's what I was going to say. A little like Loki. You know, Loki's done some bad things, but he's still the villain we're always rooting for.
Right.
Yeah.
And, you know, it's... And there are some interesting possibilities for... I did actually have a moment earlier where I wondered if Loki could be our surprise character.
Cameo.
Yeah, because, I mean, we already know we're getting Stephen Strange. I don't... If you haven't, first of all, if you haven't seen this show, if you haven't watched this episode, this is going to be pretty spoiler heavy, and also if you don't like watching trailers for things, you might tune out for the next 2 minutes because they've already dropped it. We're getting Stephen Strange. That's not our big surprise. He's in the trailer for the next episode.
I did not see that yet.
Oh, you didn't?
No. Oh, wow. That's crazy.
So somebody else is showing up, and we know now with the TVA being with the TVA, the Time Variance Authority being involved in Loki, one of their main jobs is monitoring Nexus beings. So, you know, it doesn't that leaves some possibility of connection between these shows.
Oh, that would be so fun if Loki showed up. That would be really, really fun.
And I still think, I mean, I think we all agree. I mean, do y'all still think that we've got a big surprise coming, right?
Yeah.
And that if they're letting Doctor Strange, if they're showing Doctor Strange in the trailer, there's something really massive.
Well, I think Monica Rambeau's actress still said that she can't wait for us to find out who that Aerotech engineer is.
Well, see, yeah, I mean that's obviously a big one. I started to wonder if that was just a throwaway line that
me too
will come back up somewhere way down the road.
Right.
Just because they haven't gone forward. And I mean, when we get down to this last episode, I don't know that I want them to start throwing tons of new characters in the mix in the finale. Like,
no, I don't think they're going to.
No, I don't either. We might get a little name drop or something, but I don't think we're going to get a whole lot of new stuff. But kind of as we've seen some of this fleshed out, because we've had a lot of theories, and a lot of them have been right. You know, so far Agatha is she's kind of this gray character. We don't really know what role she's going to play when it's all said and done. But Hayward has become less likable every time we've seen him on camera.
Absolutely.
It's just a dick.
He really is.
Oh, man. And he just, as if he weren't unlikable enough to bring her in there to see them dismantle.
It's like how did he not get it?
He does. That's the thing, is I think he completely gets it. And I think he's trying to goad.
Absolutely.
He's goading her into something.
He brought her in there because he wanted her to revive Vision.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. If he wanted her to try to revive him, why show her something like that?
Because he wanted her to lose it and put him together and bring him back to life.
See, I don't even think that's it. I don't think at that time that he was fully aware that she could do it.
Well,
no, he actually said to her that she could do it. He actually asked her to try.
Right.
You know, how many people can bring the love of their life back? I know it's got to be tempting for you. You know, I hate.
But he also says several things to her, you know, along the lines. You know, he tells her flat out, you know, here's the thing. He's not yours.
Right.
With just kind of a smirk on his face.
That's what I'm saying. That was just.
Right.
Not
so
nice.
It's almost like he didn't get it. Like he just didn't.
So I think we're far enough in now to kind of begin to see where pieces are falling out. We do see that Wanda did it, and we had this. This was what we thought all along, that it's purely her grief that creates this. It's nothing else. It's nothing malicious. She's not the villain. She doesn't even seem to fully remember what happened after she does it.
Right.
And we see Agatha still kind of playing this middle ground. That's what we thought last week. Hayward, do you think that Hayward is just Hayward? That he's just that jaded from everything, the events that happened in the 5 years after the blip? Or is there something more to him? Is he somebody else, maybe?
No, he's just a jerk.
He's just a jaded...
I think he's just Hayward. I think that fits. He's trying to use, Vision as a weapon. I think that he did want Wanda to try to bring Vision back to life, and when that didn't work out, I think he sort of wanted an excuse. I think he's looking for any excuse to either take her out, to test out his new Vision weapon that he's made. I think it's really interesting that we found out that the Vision we've been seeing inside of the Hex is fully 100% created just from Wanda. I had assumed that what it was is that she took his body,
right,
and then used the pieces of the body and
put
that
what Hayward told us.
Well,
that's what Hayward told us.
Right.
Right. But no.
Well, that's the whole thing with Hayward. It seems that it's a little more than just being jaded. That
he framed her.
Well, he did. That's the thing, is he's framing her as a villain. And I don't know if it's going to turn out to be something along the lines of something like Zemo, where he just has a problem with the people that he thinks caused all of this to happen.
Or if he's like Mephisto.
Right. So, I don't know. I think that so far it's been interesting, but I am curious to see how it all shakes out, because I still think there has to be... I'm still of the belief that there's still a bigger villain lurking in the background here.
And do you think that bigger villain...
I don't think there needs to be.
Well, I do agree with that. There doesn't need to be for this to still set up everything that's going to happen going forward. So, what did y'all think about the revelation about Pietro?
Pietro.
Yeah, I was leaning that way.
Yeah,
I was, and y'all, I was convinced
even after,
that it was him from X-Men.
Yeah. Not even from episode 7, but even in episode 6, I think, which was the Halloween episode. Even then, I was kind of going, this isn't any kind of version of a real Pietro. Like, I knew that I was kind of leaning towards there was something else going on there.
The fact that I believe, and I think you sound like you're in the same place, where the fact that Evan Peters is playing the part is just a fun little Easter egg.
Yeah, exactly. Just having the actor who played him in the other universe is...
Well, that's what I thought. I mean, that's what I know it to be now, but I was convinced. I thought he was ripped straight from the X-Men universe, because there were hints that they had different memories and stuff like that. So I was thinking maybe he was Quicksilver ripped from the other universe, but no, I mean, now it's just a person that was in Westview that she manipulated to do that.
She didn't just manipulate it though. Where did he get the super speed? Because he's got
maybe she did what Wanda did with the kids, where she just kind of spawned the kids and then they had powers. Maybe she was able to
It's fake though. Is it all just an illusion?
Yeah.
It's either all an illusion or it is a real person that she has taken and done a hex with and given him the powers and made him play this role. It's one of those two.
We know Wanda created this version of Vision from scratch, and
we know she
made
the kids.
Some of his powers too.
So here's the thing: when she creates him, we see the magic turn from red to the gold yellow, like the stone. And I'll go here kind of as we get to.
Yeah.
I'll bring this up really as we kind of get into the theories, but she did the way she connected with the Mind Stone when she destroyed it.
Mm-hmm.
Is it fully his consciousness? Like, it's not just a fabrication. She fully recreated his... Because he's not just a construct. He is who Vision is. He's not just this perfect version of what she wanted him to be that she could control. Because
she can't control him.
Right. And that's where I'm going with the theory. I think that she's already created what would pass for the consciousness of a sentient being.
I get that
same
too.
thing with the
And
kids.
he's fixing to hand her the body.
That's true. And yeah, we got White Vision, which I think is really, really cool. That's a comic book thing.
Yeah.
And I think what you're getting at is that White Vision is not going to have any concept of what Vision is. He's not going to have a consciousness. It is going to be a walking weapon.
Yeah. Well, so not just a walking weapon. Here's a little twist that I've been pondering, because we still think we have this big actor who people have been really excited about. What if it's Ultron? What if the mystery cast member is James Spader?
That'd be great. I'd love to see James Spader back.
I'd be so down for that. That actually, and that had not even crossed my mind, but that is the first one I have ever heard anyone theorize about that would have the impact of the way this was first described.
Yeah.
Now, Paul Bettany dropped a little hint about it being someone he wanted to work with his entire life. Well, he worked with James Spader already. But
True.
I also like the theory that he was just kind of elbowing us in the ribs a little bit, because he says it's an actor he wanted to work with his entire life, like it's himself.
Right.
He gets to fight the White Vision.
Right. Yeah, I did hear that. That's pretty funny.
And
that would be very British
sense.
humor.
He does have a very dry sense of humor.
Right.
That would definitely track.
Right.
So I guess
they should definitely bring James Spader back though eventually. I had guessed he would I kind of hoped that they would cast James Spader, the person, as a person in Westview in some role. I think that would have been funny.
Right.
Yeah.
No, that's a great one.
Yeah, but we were told so far back that he's Banner and he's Stark and he's Jarvis and he's Ultron. So what Wanda, if that's right, what she extracted of him is the good parts. It's Banner and Stark and Jarvis, and what's left is Ultron.
And then that's what's in the White Vision body?
Yeah.
But that would mean that the Vision that Thanos killed would have been Evil Vision if she had actually pulled out. Never mind, the time travel thing's confusing.
I think I get what you were getting at.
If she extracted the Vision, the Jarvis portion of the Vision consciousness, then that would have been all that was left whenever Thanos killed him.
But we don't know that. We don't know what was left.
Yes, we do, because he was looking at her and saying that he loved her.
Right, but I mean, so he still has the stone at that point.
That's true. Yeah, time travel, it makes everything complicated.
I don't know, man.
It's she made it, she copied what was on the stone.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense.
And so it's it's just like writing data. He is a machine, and I always go back to the jokes about him picking up the hammer. Oh, where'd Daniel go?
Oh dear.
Because an elevator can lift the hammer.
Right. Elevator's not worthy. That's actually one of my favorite Avengers conversations.
I have a soft spot for the movie Age of Ultron. I know that people really don't. It's the worst Avengers movie, sure, but it's the one movie. It's the only movie in the MCU where they start as a team of Avengers and they end as the team of Avengers. The whole movie, they are the Avengers. You know what I'm saying? And so you got to have those kind of conversations like that. So I have a soft spot for it.
Yeah.
I really, I know people love to hate on it, but I really enjoy Age of Ultron.
I understand the problems people have with it, but it's one of my favorite to rewatch because it's they're not fighting each other, they're not punching each other in the face. Oh, ayo.
There you are.
Ooh, I'm on top now. Look at me.
So Yeah, but I mean, there's a lot. There's an endless number of possibilities. I mean, he could just basically be a mindless killing machine. You know, we don't.
That's definitely what Hayward wants.
Yeah,
he definitely wants the mindless.
Well, I assume Hayward is trying to recreate something like Stark's original project.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Suit of armor around the world.
Which is what Sword really is trying to be.
Right.
That's a lot about Vision, but I want to talk about the Scarlet Witch.
Yeah.
Because as we said at the beginning, it was light retconning here. We established that, or at least it was hinted at, and Agatha is theorizing that even before the Mind Stone, I think it's pretty obvious that this is the case. Even before she had contact with the Mind Stone, she had some magical ability. Mm-hmm. Like, it's a really nice coincidence that bomb never went off while they were down there.
Right.
And she's the only one who survived contact. I like it too. I was wondering what they were going to do with that, because I'm sure you noticed, they didn't say the word, "Oh, you're a mutant," which I don't think is what they're going to do. I expected is this the point where they say they're mutants?
But they could.
They could, but now what I think it's getting at is that she is some sort of, like, I think she's like a prophesized being. So that scene when she's touching the Mind Stone and you see that outline of the Scarlet Witch, I was getting heavy Phoenix Force vibes.
Yeah.
Like, that's what
that's foreshadowing, though.
First thing that I thought was like, this is like the Phoenix Force, like, and I think that's what they're kind of might be going with the Scarlet Witch idea, that maybe it's like this cosmic being.
Yeah, I don't think it'll be cosmic. I don't think it'll be a cosmic being. Mm-hmm. I don't think it's an unworthy analogy, though. At the same time, I mean, even Agatha said the Mind Stone unlocked and strengthened abilities that would have just died otherwise. That's, you know, her touching the Mind Stone and the staff, and we get the image of the Scarlet Witch. That's just the visualization of the staff recognizing her powers and them being amplified that moment.
Yeah,
is the way kind of the way I think of it.
So then, how did Pietro get his powers then? Because he also got them from the Mind Stone. So did he have some kind of latent ability?
I don't know.
Maybe
I wondered that too. I wondered that too. I really did.
Well, and that's the thing, because it certainly begs that question, because he definitely walks away with powers as well.
Maybe Wanda influenced that. When we saw she was able to give her made-up kids made-up speed powers. So maybe she was able to do that with her brother. Or maybe they are going to later come back and say they are both mutants, and Wanda is a mutant who has these magical abilities, and she is prophesized to be the Scarlet Witch who can do chaos magic.
Well, the way it's explained in comic continuity is that she has the mutant ability to magically control probability fields. She has the mutant ability to control magic, which is kind of a roundabout way of saying she's magic.
Yeah,
and still letting her be a mutant.
They name dropped chaos magic.
Right.
Which I find interesting. Now, I've said it before in the show. I personally always liked the idea that there's no such thing as chaos magic, and there's just having magical abilities and being insane. That was something that was said before that changed. Obviously, that's not actually in comics. They've now retconned that. I'm like, no, but there actually really is chaos magic. Just personally, not the particular writing idea that I liked. Shout out Michael Brian Bendis, but they're obviously going that way in the show, that she's doing chaos magic, and there are different types of magic. And the Scarlet Witch is somebody who has this unrivaled control of chaos magic.
Yeah, and it seems that Agatha is particularly wields some unusual type of power too. Especially compared to the other witches that she interacted with, they were all
she was more powerful than all of them.
Magic, and she was purple.
And it was a magic that they did not appreciate that she had the ability to use.
Right.
Well, she was just too powerful. She had said whenever she was begging them for her life, she says, I can't control it.
Yeah. Which, by the way, I'm really glad. So when they saw Salem, Massachusetts, I was kind of rolling my eyes, oh, they're gonna do that. She was a witch in the Salem witch trials. That's really freaking creative. Never seen that before.
That is part of her history, though.
I don't know. I don't know anything about Agatha in the comic books, but I was just rolling my eyes that sucks. But then when they did the subversion of the expectations, where she's up there and they go, "Are you a witch?" And she goes, "Yes, I'm a witch." And they had put those magical handcuffs on her, and they were all witches. I thought that was great because I thought they were gonna do townspeople were burning the witch at the stake, but no, they're actually mad. They're all witches that are now mad at this witch. I thought that was great. I thought that was really.
I liked it. I liked that too. That was really well done.
Though her acting was kind of weird in that scene. I don't know if that stood out to y'all, but I was I wasn't feeling it. It felt kind of awkward to me.
I had the opposite effect. I was actually waiting to get to this subject. I have known Catherine Hahn, as I'm sure all of us have, for a very long time. She's a very good comedic actress. I enjoy those movies that she's in. I like Catherine Hahn, but I never expected the level of depth to her talent that I think we saw in this episode. That's one of the best acting performances. Oh, it's not one of, it's the best acting performance I've ever seen her deliver. I thought she was great in this episode.
What I liked about that scene, and I think why it feels a little odd, and if you've ever known someone with severe identity disorders and things, I mean, she's almost shifting. It is uncomfortable. It's this 1 minute she's pleading for her life, and the next minute she's laughing in your face, and she keeps going back and forth, and you don't know.
She's off balance.
Yeah.
That's fair, and I'm not saying she was doing a bad job at all. It just stood out to me as now the rest of the episode I thought she was doing incredible. Maybe it was just too jarring from what we've seen her do. So I think she's been a great actress in the show. I'm not trying to dog on her or anything like that. I'm just saying that scene just stood out a little bit to me personally. But maybe that's what they were going for. Maybe you're right. It's supposed to be uncomfortable in that way.
Right, because I mean, it leaves you not really knowing whether the pleading for her life was just kind of a joke. Like, when she's pleading for life, but was it just like well, maybe I can get them to just drop this? And
well, they're trying to keep us off balance about what we think of her.
Right.
Yeah.
And I think she did a very good job delivering that. And then just the whole, not even just that scene, but just the way she interacts with Wanda through that whole episode. I thought she did an excellent job. I was very impressed with her this episode.
Yeah. I mean, I love the the real jealousy of Wanda's abilities.
Yeah.
And then at the end, a little bit of fear.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, to the point where she leaves the dungeon and goes out and, ties the children up, to keep Wanda from coming after her.
By the way, I'm not just checking my phone in the middle of the show. I was checking my notes to make sure I said everything. I'm not a bad podcast personality. No, but you're right. She was scared, and I like that. I like her jealousy. I like this idea that, and we don't know what Agatha's powers come from. They didn't really establish that. Like, was she born with it or whatever, or did she study in that group of witches like Dr. Strange did? They didn't really hint at either or. But let's say that she had to learn how to master the abilities that she has. If I were her, I'd be pretty pissed off if some random European chick comes along and it just knows it all. That's what Dr. Strange has always had a problem with Wanda a little bit, because he was like, I trained for this and you just have it. It's irresponsible. It's not okay for you to have this kind of power without the kind of proper training. That
they did allude
goes
to that
into it. It's
a little
unfair.
bit. They did allude to that a little bit. That's what she wanted to know. That's what she was asking. How are you doing this? And she said the simplest illusions took me years to master, and you're running crap miles away. She told her,
Right.
So I mean, they've already began to allude to that's part of the issue here.
Right. I mean, she tell it's magic on autopilot.
Yep.
And when she calls it chaos magic, she also uses the term spontaneous creation.
Right.
Meaning, I mean, at this point, we don't even know what the limitations of what Wanda can do are.
Yeah.
Like, we could still be just scratching the surface.
Right.
So I think that was really cool. It is. I really liked getting to see the origin of Westview and what happened. Was very heartbreaking that she's going. I'm like, what's she going on in Westview? And you get to that And then I'm like, what could this possibly be? And she pulls out the letter, and it's Vision bought this land to build a house on for them to grow old in. That's horribly heartbreaking. And so just from that very moment, she explodes. What I also think is interesting because it made me rethink, and we already kind of talked about this, made me rethink about like the security footage we saw of her breaking into Sword and taking the body or whatever, which that's not what happened, obviously, which we talked about earlier. I think that was really cool. That was like spliced together footage that was all kind of made to look a certain way. So it was Agatha outside of the Hex felt this magical thing going on, like sensed it in the magic world, and then came and like got herself in and then infiltrated it. Okay. Or because I was thinking it was either that or maybe she was the person under witness protection who was in Westview.
She told Wanda, when I felt this immense power of all this different kind of magic happening at once, she had to come see what was happening.
Which is kind of weird that we haven't seen Doctor Strange yet when you think it, because that means that Doctor Strange also felt it. So where's he been? Why is it taking him 9 episodes to get here?
Yeah.
Who knows?
He's busy with all the other.
Well, I'm sure they'll have some kind of throwaway line to sort of explain it next week.
He's got a lot going on, which is fair enough. He's like, policing all these dimensions.
All the things. Yeah.
Love Doctor Strange. I'm so excited to see more of him.
Yeah, it's gonna be fun. I'm excited.
So as far as as we wrap up, unless y'all have anything else to touch on, what do you think about the vision that she sees when she touches the Mind Stone? I mean, it's clearly it's the same outfit she wore almost in the Halloween
Vision
episode.
As in like a thing that she saw, not like her husband Vision, but
right. No, the vision
she touches the stone, and we see the silhouette of the Scarlet Witch,
right,
and the outfit that looks much more like her comic correct outfit.
Right, it's the comic book outfit.
Yeah.
Is she literally is it
a vision of herself from
the future? A vision of herself, or right?
Or is it some kind of like time travel involved? Whoop. Yeah, I don't know.
I'm thinking it's sort of like the Phoenix Force, but not cosmic, almost like a magical entity idea that is the Scarlet Witch. Like Agatha said, it's a myth that this thing even exists.
Well, she is the Scarlet Witch, and that's just kind of where I'm I think it is this visual representation of the power that's inside of her.
Yeah, I agree.
It was very, how do I put this? It was a great image. It was very visually compelling. Just the way it was structured, and you can instantly see the silhouette of the outfit. She even had the cape, looped it. It was just.
And I love that they're
actually see the outfit though. Yeah. I need to see Elizabeth Olsen in it. I know we saw the Halloween costume version of it, but I want to see the fully realized, MCU practical version of this costume.
And I'm excited they said the words Scarlet Witch, because that's the first time they've said it in the entire MCU. We've just always been she's just been Wanda.
But this show has done lots of this show has done lots of things to establish some of the mythos surrounding the character that we haven't got to see in the MCU yet. And this show's done a very good job of establishing that and bringing it into this timeline. So
yeah. No, they've done a great job with kind of realigning the character with her comic book character.
Yeah. Absolutely.
So kind of as we wrap up, does anybody have any kind of theories about next week?
No. I'm through theorizing about this show.
Yeah, I kind of don't want to anymore, because I kind of just want to watch and be surprised. Next week's the last episode, right?
Yeah.
Of the season. I'm kind of just like ready to just sit back, and let it all come at me and just take it in and be excited about it. Because I've been there like, what does any of this mean? And every week we're just having more questions than we got answers. So.
But that's the thing, though. We've had a lot of these questions kind of subtly answered, and I'm not sure how much they've left us to theorize about for next week.
No, not a lot.
A throwdown.
I think they
Where's
intentionally,
Monica?
Exactly, but they intentionally made us ask all these questions through the whole season, and we get down to this last one, and it's like I don't know what to ask now.
Right. That's why I'm done theorizing. I just want to see it. Vision versus Vision, Scarlet Witch versus Agatha. Doctor Strange is there somewhere doing something.
Darcy's
we gotta find
saying
Monica.
funny things.
Darcy. We didn't see Darcy this week either.
No. Which I don't know if I've said it before, especially to you, Dad, but Darcy's grown on me because they
you mentioned that last week. I started to say something about it, but I let it go.
They've used less of her. That's the thing. Like that first episode she came in, there was just too much. They've used less of her, and with the less of her they've used, with just in little bits, like every once in a while hearing something like that, it's okay.
I like that.
Which, by the way, she's gonna be in more Marvel stuff. I think she said.
Oh, yeah.
Right, but it's not Love and Thunder.
Right.
So
yes.
I wonder what that's gonna be. That's interesting. Maybe Doctor Strange.
I mean, at this point, I think that makes as much sense as anything.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm still rooting for a Darcy Jimmy team up show.
You and a lot of other people.
Randall Park is the most loved man in Hollywood right now.
Right.
Good for him.
I mean, it's crazy how much traction that idea gained after just the very get-go of this show.
Right.
And, I mean, they pay attention to what people are clamoring for.
Who's to say it's not already in the works? I mean, do we really not trust Marvel to already see this stuff before we do?
They're clearly working 3 or 4 years ahead of us. So
playing 5D chess.
Absolutely.
All right. Well, anybody have anything else to add before we wrap up?
So.
All right. Well, that's going to do it for this episode of the Science Fictionary Podcast. Join us here next week to talk about the WandaVision finale. But until next time, Marisha, where can people find you?
You can find me on Instagram, princesses_and_Padawans, and Padawans on Twitter.
All right, David.
You guys can find me on Twitter at David_JGPeoples.
And Daniel.
I am Dan C. Peeps on Twitter.
All right, you can find me running the Twitter account for this show at sci_fictionary. You can drop us a line at thesciencefictionary@gmail.com. As always, head over to the Red 5 Network at red5network.com or at Red 5 Network on Twitter to check out our podcast as well as the rest of the Red 5 podcast family. And until next time, I didn't think of anything, so may the force be with you.